Okay, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Doula Business Chat. This is our sixth session. Really excited. Today's a little bit different because it is a total free form. We don't have a topic set, and so we will just kind of go from what everybody on the video and what the chat box wants to chat about, and go from there. I don't have an agenda at all, so we can talk about whatever's hot topics in the doula world right now. Just a quick intro. My name's Alice Turner. I'm the owner and the doula behind Your Doula Bag. I've been selling products to doulas for about 6 years. I've been a doula myself 10 years ago. I started training, or I did my training through Doula March 2005. So I love it. It's totally my thing. Used to be a computer programmer before that. So definitely found my passion in this work. I also teach Lamaze and love that as well. And in the last, I would say maybe 4 years, I've been doing more work with doulas and business topics. And we usually talk about business topics at the Doula Business Chat, but really we're going to talk about anything, whether it is related to running a business or just being a doula in general. There's a hashtag for the Doula Business Chat if you want to talk about it. It's you'll see it on the screen, hashtag DoulaBizChat. And I love social media, so anytime you guys want to post anything or take a photo for Instagram, that stuff, it's encouraged, so you'll probably see me doing that during some of our chat. So thanks again for spending your time with me today. This is super fun for me, and I hope that it's fun for you and you get something out of it, and just the ability to connect with doulas from all over. So speaking of doulas from all over, I would love to just go through and let the doulas that are on the video with us say hello. And I'm going to start with Amanda P. Hey, Amanda.
Hi.
Hi. If you'll just give us a little background, where you're from and all that stuff.
Yeah. So my name's Amanda Powell, and I run my doula business called Small Packages in Portland, Maine. And I also am a certified lactation counselor. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I was telling Alex earlier that me and 4 other doulas are starting something called the Community Doula Birth Program. And it's so we can help low-income women be matched up with doulas in training so they can have access to doula services. And we're just launching that this year pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that I'd love to hear more about that in the chat, so that would be great. Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Now we've got another Amanda, Amanda R. Hey, Amanda.
Hi. So a little bit about me. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I have started doula training with Pro Doula for labor training, and just in the process of completed postpartum training with the Sacred Living University, and just completed my placenta encapsulation certification. So through that being said, I mentioned to Amanda and Alice earlier that there is a big division in the local community between entrepreneurship and the doulas who believe everyone needs a doula and can have it for free. So it's very difficult to have a business dialogue and find a mentor without really digging under people's skin and trying to get to the root of the matter. So that's the environment that I'm working with as a doula, so to speak.
I love that. I've never heard that before.
A doula. And additionally, I haven't taken on any birth clients yet because I'm still nursing, and I didn't want to have to stop in the middle of supporting a mom and say, excuse me, will I go pump? I didn't want that to be an issue yet. So hopefully in the next couple of months when we're done with that relationship, I could start pursuing labor clients.
Cool, cool.
We talked about that one chat, I think, the pumping during labor.
Yep. I was going to say I have done that and would be happy to talk about that. the pros or the cons of it, but it is a challenge. Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Amanda. Yeah, and we're going to talk about your issue, definitely, or the issue of your area. Okay, Karina, are you there? Would you like to say hello? I know that you had muted yourself. We might skip over to Tara. Okay. Is it Tara or Tara? Are you there?
Yeah, it's Tara.
Tara. Hey, Tara.
Hi. I am in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I recently, just a week ago, completed my DONA certification course, so I'm just trying to get my DONA certification finished up, and I also volunteer at our university hospital to serve underprivileged women, refugees and teens, people who aren't able to afford a doula otherwise. And I do 2 shifts a month doing that, and then just trying to grow my doula business as a full-time single working mother. So
yeah.
Gotta balance it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to pop over to the chat box. We have Paloma. Hey, Paloma. Kelly. We have Naomi. We have Rebecca, Bex. And let me just look through to see if we have any questions before we get started. Naomi was asking, had a question already for Amanda. And she said, where did you start to get the community doula program started for Amanda P? Do you want to just share maybe a little bit how that came to life and just a little more detail on it, maybe?
Well, so we've actually been working on it for over a year now before, deciding to launch it and getting our 501c3 nonprofit status. So it basically took a lot of planning, and I think that people have tried to do this in the area, and I live in Portland, Maine, so that people have tried to do it in this area before, but it didn't get off the ground. So there's one girl that's in it. Her name is Julie, and she is just really experienced in starting programs and this kind of stuff. So she has been our leader through this, and so we would have meetings like at least once a month, and just yeah, it was a lot. It was honestly a lot of work. There are a lot of moving parts, and so kind of a blur how it all started. But you just have to have a lot of teamwork and yeah.
Now, is that something, will it be funded through a grant, or are you guys raising money, or how will you fund kind of just any of the costs for that program?
Yeah, right now we're filming a video to do a crowdfunder.
Okay.
And I think that we're going to go with Indiegogo to platform. And yeah, so we're just looking into that, and we're going to set, our goal is going to probably be around 10,000, and that's going to be for all the startup costs and, some kind of a salary for the people that are running it, and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And then we can also go for grants now that we're a official nonprofit. We can apply for them.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Tara, you had said that you volunteer at a hospital for just taking on clients. Maybe since that's kind of a similar type, I would say, the idea of helping moms that can't afford it. Can you give us just a little more information about that program?
Well, it's something that our University of Utah Hospital has set up. They have a doula program there where they take doulas that are going through training or already trained. And it's kind of, we sign up for 2 12-hour shifts a month, and we go in for a couple hours, and the rest of it is just on call. So if somebody's in labor that needs us, we can go back. And basically, they just offer services to women, and if they want us and feel like our assistance is valuable to them, then we get called in. But they would like to offer our services towards, we have a lot of teen moms that go there, or refugees. So they'd rather offer our assistance to them versus a wealthier woman who maybe just didn't I don't know, didn't think to hire a doula or something. However, if we are there and that's the only patient available, then we'll be offered to that patient.
Okay. So it's a 12-hour shift. Do you ever find yourself staying for more than that because you're in the middle of a birth and all that?
Yeah, and that is kind of common. If it's somebody's birthing and you've been with them for your shift or half your shift and you choose to stay, which most cases people do because, you know, they've been with them the whole birthing process, then you would just arrange for the next doula on call and just tell them that you're willing to stay for, you know, until they're done, and then you'll leave after that.
Got it. Got it. That's cool. Well, I just wanted to say hi real quick to Hey, Angela. I see you're here. Do you want to say a quick hello?
Hello, everyone.
Where are you calling from? Caller?
Upstate New York.
Upstate New York. Awesome. Cool. Thanks. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
So, everybody in the chat box, I am looking at some questions. There's some questions about how to make it work with kids, and we are going to cover that. I just wanted to let you guys know, but I want to explore, since we're talking about, Amanda P. had talked about, you know, she's working on a group, a community doula program to match up some newer doulas with moms that are in need, and then Tara had talked about her work volunteering at the hospital, and Amanda R. had brought up some division of sort of the free births versus getting paid for births. I thought maybe we should go in that direction a little bit and maybe cover that concept. And some challenges that I know Amanda R. maybe we can talk a little bit more with you about what's going on there, and just sort of a shift maybe that's happening right now in the doula profession. And you know, maybe to start off with that concept of a doula for everyone, right? A lot of our training programs and just it's kind of in the foundation, right, of doula work, the idea that everybody deserves a doula. And I think that all of us pretty much agree, right, that all women do deserve a doula. So I'm just going out on, this is all now my personal, sort of my personal thoughts on the matter, and then I'd love for everybody else to kind of share their thoughts. But while I think that is wonderful and very important core, that all women do deserve a doula, that doesn't mean that, like, I can be the doula for everyone, right? We can't be the doula to everyone in need, and we're not even the right doula for everyone, I don't think. Just because we're available doesn't mean we're really a good match for everyone. So, you know, I think that definitely there are some doulas that are more inclined to do free births and work with moms that are in need, and I think that is, you know, totally fine. But I do think that doulas that want to make a living out of it should not be at all looked down upon. I mean, if we don't, a lot of us, if we aren't making a living at this job, we're not going to be able to keep going, right? I don't know if you guys are in a position, but I cannot spend a lot of my life just volunteering. Volunteer work is not possible. Like, I'm going to have to bring in some money, and if I'm not bringing in money doing doula work, then I'm going to have a full-time job, and I'm not serving any women out there. So anyway, that's just a little couple thoughts I had. Amanda R., I would love to hear maybe a little bit more about your ideas and thoughts and about the situation.
Sure. So I still currently work full time. So breaking into the business is very slow and coming, and I'm okay with that. I can't compare myself to everybody else. In speaking with the doula that I had for my births, I started picking her brain about setting a price and how she went about doing it, or what the local group did. Having joined the group recently, and she indicated to me in no uncertain terms that the price that I was starting out at was somewhat ridiculous and very high. And I stated to her, well, this is a living wage. If I'm going to quit my job and I have 1 or 2 births, I need to be, like you said, I need to be able to bring home some money. And I'm not doing it to be greedy. I still believe there's a purpose behind the work that we do, and considering everything that goes in it. It's not just, here, let me sign you up and give you a few tips and support you, and then you never hear from me again. I think a lot of us establish relationships with these women and their families, and it goes beyond just the birth. There's education involved. There's sharing of resources. And if you just divide, say, 20 hours of your day and how much value you place on it, it's not fair to my family, and it's not fair to the other people in this profession to undercut and say, oh, just give me whatever you feel is right. Now, I recognize there's some communities where the economy is different and bartering systems are well established, and that would be awesome if I could find that, but that's not the case here. It's very split. And we also have a local nonprofit that does work through the Archdiocese, and they do match up low-income women and at-risk teens. So I'm hoping to get some work through them, and it's not for the money at that point. It's let me get the experience, and so I'm saving now, recognizing that that's happening out there. But it does make it difficult to form relationships with the women in the community who work as doulas and are well established because of their thoughts on how pricing should be. I think the majority of them feel that I'm so new at this, I'm still very fresh, that I should be working for free or for anywhere from $200 to $300. And if I'm going to miss work to support a mom, at a certain point, there's going to be a tipping point where I can no longer do that.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult for me to reach out to someone locally to say, hey, let's have a chat. How's business going? You know, what are your thoughts? I don't want to step on your toes because they already feel like I'm stepping on their toes. Like, who's this person coming out of the gate and charging this ridiculous wage? So I feel like I'm a lone nut out in the bag of mixed trail mix.
Yeah, that is super, super hard. So I'm glad you're here. You have other avenues, right, to connect with doulas, and maybe locally isn't going to be a great match, and that might just be hard. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's really my feeling that the market will bear your price, right? If you set a price, and you let your clients that are hiring you know, look, I've got this much experience, this many births, I'm bringing this to the table, and this is my price, and they want to hire you for that price, why would that matter to another doula? That, to me, that doesn't, I don't understand why that would matter. I don't know.
For a large city, it's still very small-minded in a lot of aspects, and we have in our association meeting that we had recently, it was painful somewhat to the extent of the bickering or the cheek biting that was going on. It's like, ladies, we're here to move this profession forward and educate the community that we're in, because this is a business, but it's a service too, so we can't bring each other down. So I feel like we're at the tipping point where something's going to have to change, and this next wave of people joining the doula profession, men too. We have two men in our community that are becoming doulas. So doula,
right?
Doula
and doula. A doula.
Yes, we have a doula. It's I don't know. I guess I was really hoping to get the whole hand-holding and peace and love and let's do this together. Oh no, my client is better suited for you. Let me refer them to you because they don't fit me, but I think you'd be a great fit. Like, that's what I'm looking for, and I don't quite know how to get there. Yeah.
I bet they're out there. I hope so, but it might take some time. And I know just in the 10 years that I've been doing it, I have seen things start to, small little changes, and definitely that's it's kind of one of the reasons that a couple months back, or February, just 1 month ago, I put on that a webinar about setting your doula fee, and a lot of it was kind of behind this idea of take a look and think about how much you should be charging and feel good about it, anyone on video want to share? Amanda or Angela or Queen Tara, anybody have any?
It's such a hard topic.
It is hard.
I've had a doula say that to me before when I was like traveling to far away, and they were one of the only doulas in the area. You know, they asked me to charge more because I was charging less than they were, but traveling further, and they said they just wanted me to be fair and asked me to charge more, and I was just like, I don't really feel comfortable charging more right now, so you know that was kind of like the opposite. But yeah, I mean, I definitely found that in the beginning, the first 2 or 3 births that I did were like I think one of them gave me gas money or something. But I found that after that, when I started charging, you know, people like valued my services more. You know, like before they wouldn't really call me all that much, or they didn't really keep me in the loop. But when you start charging and they start, you know, like including you more, and they just value your services more.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like if it's often, you know, my first couple I did for free. I met the couples in a childbirth class and just said, "Hey, I want experience. Can I help you?" And I had some challenges with that. You know, they weren't planning on a doula, and just, oh, well, since they got a free doula, well, sure, you know, and that just wasn't the relationship that I really needed to start with, you know, really. And so it is a hard issue. I'm going to read something from Paloma. Let's see. Was she talking about? Oh, she's sharing a story. Paloma, let me know if I can share this story on video. But there's a little bit of chat in the chat box about doulas that are kind of being cliquey and talking bad about another doula, and I hate that. I don't even know anything more to say. You know, I mean, something about a doula for everyone, to me, makes it feel like there could be a whole lot of different doulas out there, right? If everyone matches with the doula, then why can't we all have our own thing and do something what makes us feel comfortable? And I feel like, I know the doula profession is very different. It's a very unique situation. But someone new in their profession, in a different field, like a hairdresser or something, you know, I don't know that they get that same kind of critique all the time on what they're doing or what their price is set. Yeah, that's a tough one. Amanda, I hope that, yeah, you can find your way in that. But I feel your pain. That's hard.
Thanks.
Yeah. And we might just, oh yeah, Angela, I feel like you're, oh, I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Oh no.
Amanda, I feel like,
what'd you say, Amanda?
I was just gonna say, I feel like if Amanda puts, you know, the positive energy out there, like you're trying to do, you know, people will find you that have the same mindset.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah. Hang in there. It is hard when you feel like you're the only sole person around that feels one way. That is hard. Okay, I'm going to share. Paloma wrote a little story in the chat box. She says there's not a lot of doulas in her area. She's in South Carolina. She said, I think she's near Clemson. She said, in fact, only me and one other. The other doula wants to partner for a backup. She doesn't think she's a good match. She's very, very radical in her personality. For you can only do a natural home birth. Otherwise, you're a bad mom, and she's not that way at all. and she's not sure how to explain that situation. And it seems like this other doula might be a challenging personality. And just speaking a little bit to that, and finding a backup, I think it is pretty critical to find, if you can, to find a backup that is similar to you as far as your personality, your style. You are putting your client in someone else's hands, and so in order to do that confidently, you want someone who you can trust, right? Who you feel like would do just as good or almost as good of a job as you would, or better. So yeah, Paloma, if this doula is not going to be a good match, I would go without a backup and explain the situation to clients and say, look, there's not a doula in the area that matches my personality, and we're going to roll the dice. If this if I'm not available, then you can, get most of your money back, or some kind of arrangement, just to make sure that that they feel comfortable with that situation. But I think that it would be worse to partner with someone who you're not comfortable with. Does anyone else have any? Yeah.
You could also give them the option of like them contacting her on their own and meeting with her and seeing if they feel like she's a good, because then it's like, putting the ball in their court where they're taking the responsibility of hiring her, and it's not like you're hiring her as your backup.
Yeah, right. If they feel comfortable with her personality and her as a backup, that's really smart. I like that. That's a really good option. Okay, so let's sneak over, and I see that, let's see, one last thought from the chat room. I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback, a little bit of feedback on my microphone. Looks like, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. Maris Elizabeth. She says, a very tricky topic. I think for each doula and each circumstance, they need to keep in mind their expenses, gas money, parking, food, and of course their time, plus their education, service, and experience, and then set a fair price from there. Yes, love it. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so let's pop back to one of the things that just kind of switch. We'll pivot a little bit and talk about what some of the people in the chat room were talking about or asking about, and that is doulaing with children, or having small kids and being a doula. Maybe we can just speak to this a little bit. We talked about it in one chat. I remember Amanda was reminding me that we talked a little bit about nursing or having a nursing baby and being a doula, and it is definitely challenging. Hey, Angela.
Hey.
It's like, oh, you're back.
I'm here.
Okay, before we pop into having kids, I know you wanted to share something. I would love to hear what you wanted to say before we pivot to our next topic.
That's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah, just along those lines of the doula, and really, our goal is to protect that space, and that includes with our clients and with one another. That's why I'm so glad that you, Alice, thank you for doing this. That we can come to a safe place to really support one another, to protect each other's space, and to really encourage. So it's just tough when you hear that negativity from others. When that is the whole role of a doula, is to protect our clients as well as each other. And understand that there's heads are going to butt and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we are all in this together, and there is a doula for everyone, and it might not be me for a certain client, but at the end of the day, we're all here for each other.
I love that. Yep. Yep, we have to protect each other. We really don't want to get into the reputation of our consumers thinking that all the doulas fight with each other.
That's right.
That's not good, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to let our customers think that we're just a bunch of hens pecking at each other. Yeah. And there's a couple roosters now too, right? Mara was talking about it, and a few roosters. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that you were back. Well, we're gonna pivot a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit about challenges with having kids and being gone and expectations and all of that. That difficult topic. But I know I shared in one of the previous chats that I did go back to work when I was nursing my last two. I have 4 kids, and I went back for a few clients, right about 3 months, for a couple repeat clients, and then I started back. From there, started taking people on, and yeah, it was definitely a juggling act, and I did need to leave the bedside and the mom's side and pump, especially on those long births. It was multiple times to pump, and managing coolers at birth and new ice, and then pumping before birth, not knowing how much milk, and then calling my husband and getting him to drive to the hospital so I could nurse the baby in the car. There's lots of challenges. So it's very similar to what other working moms in their profession have to do: manage milk supply and pumping. And I think so much of it is setting the expectations with clients. Like, hey, I know you're interested in hiring me. Look, here's my story. I'm nursing a child, and every 3 hours I have to be gone for 20 minutes to pump. And just setting up that expectation is really important. And I'd love to hear what other people's thoughts are with that. But I do want to share one other thing that I feel like works, well, at least for now, with my family. Instead of saying I'm going to a birth, I try to make it like I'm going on a business trip, is what we talk about. And it's kind of an open-ended business trip. That might be a short business trip, or it might be a 3-day business trip. And I think at least for my kids, it helps them kind of relate to that, because they have friends that have working moms, and some of them travel for work, and they kind of, have an easier time dealing with, okay, what is mommy doing? And even if they're talking to someone, oh, she's at the hospital, that sometimes can be hard, but she's on a business trip. It's kind of the way that we talk about things. And the other thing that helped my family a lot, and just as the kids got older, now I don't know if this was really the question, but since I'm talking, I'm just going to share that it was 5 years, no, it was 2 years ago, I had my 8th anniversary, and I did a big party. And so we invited all the kids, all of my doula kids, babies, and we had it at a playground with like a little room kind of thing also. And so my kids saw all these other kids, and they saw all the families and everything that I worked with. And it was kind of like an aha moment to them, like, oh, that's what you've been doing at the hospital all those hours. And so that was pretty big for me. They like, okay, I get it. That's what you do. That's your job. And I don't know. That just really helped me. Anybody else have stories to share?
I do. I have a 7 and an 8-year-old, and every time I go on a prenatal interview or a visit, I have them help me. I have them put the packets together. I get their feedback. I just include them in any way that I can. And of course, let's face it, that bouncing birth ball, best thing ever. As long as I get that thing out, they are happy as clams at high tide.
That's awesome. Yeah, getting kids involved is excellent. They really feel like they're part of it, and they're helpful, and that's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else have questions? Oh, yeah. Sorry, Angela, go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead.
I didn't know. Just see if anyone else on the panel. Questions, thoughts? Okay, let me peek back at the chat room with where this question originated. And if you're in the chat box and you have specific questions about kids, okay, so let's see. Kelly asks, I want to hear more about being a mom to a newborn and doula work simultaneously. So I did talk about that a little bit and about pumping. And you know, I think it's also something that you can kind of see, like maybe 1 month, you know, try one client, and then if that works, do two, or maybe you only take, you know, moms that have given birth before because they might be faster laborers, and that feels more comfortable. So Kelly also says she'd love to hear more from moms who manage balance mom work with doula work. I don't have a lot of friends in the area that I can call on for a 2 a.m. birth that could watch my kids or help them to school, etc. Yes. So does anyone want to speak to that? I do have a couple thoughts too.
I think that's where the whole building the community and connecting with doulas. Can you hear?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Just connecting with other doulas in the area. I know I just recently partnered up with another doula, and she's actually offered to watch my kids while I'm at a birth. You know, she's also my backup, but she's also backup for my kids too. You know, and we have a good working relationship and a good personal relationship too. You know, so I mean that's definitely an option for sure as far as like a backup, somebody else that you can, and this, you know, not family, but friends too. I have a lot of close friends in the area too that, you know, I make plans day by day as, you know, the due date passes, you know, that they're willing to take the kids and whatnot. So those are some options that have worked for me.
Love that. Yeah, I call mine a village. So I have a village of people that I support, that I work with. And I know, Kelly, you had said that you don't have a lot of friends in the area right now that you could call at 2 a.m. And that is hard. And I would, if you can, try to start with someone in the doula community. Might be easier because they sort of understand the crazy that we live, crazy schedule. But I definitely think that if you can, to me, if I can spread sort of help, you know, if I have a few people, few options, that's helpful for me because not everybody is available, you know, on call 24 hours. But I do also, like Angela was saying, there's a lot of like day by day plans that have to be kind of made, and then, oh, we didn't need those. It's like, Monday, if you're available, can you do this? Oh yeah, so now Tuesday, if you're available. Now it's Friday, and are you still available? So it sometimes takes some time and the right person that can really deal with that. People that are very structured, I think, are maybe not the best to be your childcare helper because it might drive them crazy. I have known people that get a little nutty, like, well, when is this woman going to have her baby? It's like, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. If I knew, she would be the first one I would tell because she's wanting to know too. But it can be a little bit rough. And I mean, I have been at this for 10 years, and for now, it's just kind of a joke with my friends that help me out. I'm kind of like, hey, what are you doing Tuesday? They're like, yeah, it's fine. I'm free. You know, just call me, whatever. But it is harder than it looks, I would say. Naomi in the chat box says, some of my first clients now take my kids if I need it. Oh, cool. In fact, they're on standby during spring break. I also have a mom group called The Village. Awesome. That I met on Meetup. That's really cool. Yeah, Naomi, that's awesome. That is a cool place to start. I mean, if you had an awesome relationship with a client, they obviously know what it's like to have a doula and need a doula at any time of the day. I love that. That's the first time I heard anybody sort of tapping into.
Great idea.
I know.
I am on that.
Yeah, that is a really good, awesome suggestion. And then Jasmine, hey Jasmine, she says she has a 4-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 6.5-month-old. And we usually tell them when I'm going to a birth that mom's helping mommies have their babies. That's really good. Yeah, very simple. Helping a mom have a baby. And then Naomi says, my husband still asks me when my clients are going to have their babies, which is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, my husband and I, you guys might have the same story. Like, I'll say, hey, honey, I'll pull the cover back and say, going to a birth. And he'll say, see you in a couple days. I'm like, yeah, I know. There have been some long ones. So he's of the mindset that he's just going to figure it'll take a couple days. And then if I come back early, it's a bonus, right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then, let's see. Paloma says she's lucky to live in a college town. She has college students as sitters that she can call, and they can come sleep on the couch. Awesome. And her husband works the morning shift, so he's home about the time that the school bus comes. Yeah, I think college students, as long as they're reliable, they know what they have to have their phone on, they have to be sober, all that kind of stuff, would be a great resource because they are have a little bit more of a flexible schedule, not necessarily having, to get to work the next day by 8 a.m. or something like that. So they could make that work a little bit easier. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Who else has a question? Does anybody, I see a little bit of quietness in the chat box. Does anyone have a question or thought? Something they've been wondering about? Has anybody tweeted hashtag DoulaBizChat yet?
No, I'm on Instagram. That's as fancy as I get.
I love it.
I still have an old flip phone.
Awesome. You do have an old flip phone?
I do. I use my husband's cell phone sometimes to text, but yeah, no. I'm old-fashioned sometimes.
That's okay. A phone for every person, a doula for every client.
It's true.
Okay, Karina just sent a message on video. Karina asked, where do you recommend getting your first client? So that's an awesome question. And I have a couple thoughts I'd share, and then we can let everybody else share, and you guys in the chat box can share as well. I love going if there is a childbirth educator in the area that you like or have tried to make a relationship with or already know. That might be a good place to start. I know at my Lamaze classes, sometimes I'll have doulas that sit in on the class, and they can always talk to if any of the clients have questions, or maybe they want to have a further discussion. They're thinking about a doula afterwards. They can do that. I also like the idea of getting your name out to other similar professions that might be working with pregnant women, like massage therapists or chiropractors, anybody who does like prenatal fitness. I also did a little mini class one time at a prenatal yoga studio that was down the street from me. I just went in and talked to the instructor and said that I'm a doula and I'd love to maybe give a little class about, trying to remember what I taught. I think I taught something about like 5 tips for birth or something like that. And just kind of gave them also more information about what doulas do. And that was a great way just to meet pregnant women, and it was providing them information as well as I was having the opportunity to maybe meet some pregnant moms. I haven't had a lot of luck just putting like business cards in OB offices or midwife offices. That's just kind of the nature of my location here. That doesn't seem like it works very well. I don't know where they end up. They end up on in the trash or somewhere in some pile somewhere. But I really like the route of maybe trying to form a referral network first. What does anyone else? Hey, Amanda, you're back. Does anyone else have thoughts about getting those first clients?
We have doula teas in the area, which is where it's just like a bunch of parents and a bunch of doulas meet, and we just talk about what a doula is, and we can answer all their questions, and it's kind of like speed dating for doulas and clients, but the way we do it is like in a circle, and we all kind of go around and talk, and they ask questions, and that's a good way to meet parents and just get your name out.
Well, yeah, that's really nice. A few different communities do that. That's a great way to, at least for the consumer too, that they can meet several people at once. Let's see. Yeah, Chloe in the chat box also said, what is the best way to help clients find you? It's an uphill journey to get my practice going. The other thing, my other thought about that is to try to connect with some existing doulas, because they might be looking for like another backup or a second backup, or they might, once they close out a month, like if they take enough clients in the month, or maybe they're not taking clients in July or whatever, then if they had your name, then they could pass your name along to somebody who finds them. I know that happened to me when I first started, that I got my name with a doula that was busier, and that if someone came up, she would just say, oh, I can't take this client, I'm booked. Why don't you check on Alice and see if she's free? So that might be another way to think about it. Okay, so a very complicated, I think, question came up in the chat box. We have about 8 minutes. So I'm going to just read it and talk about it a little bit. The question was certifications, yes or no, and hands-on or online, and which ones are best. So that's such a good question and topic. And then a couple people, Naomi said she did CBI, and then I know she did DTI also, because I saw her at the DTI training in Atlanta last weekend. And Childbirth International, CBI, is online, and Doula Trainings International is a 5-day workshop. And then they have 9 months sort of following. And then there's always Kappa, and there's DONA, and there's lots of different options out there. So that is, I would say, a big question that I would love to just maybe put that one in a parking lot, I call it, and maybe explore that a little bit more. I'm making a note to myself on another call, that we can just kind of chat it out with certification and pros and cons, and which training programs are great and we love them, or challenging, or any of that. So I think that is a great question, but maybe a little too open-ended and a hard one for right now. I wanted to read this one quick thing from the chat room. Naomi says, my mom put my business cards in all of the pregnancy books at Books A Million, which is hysterical. That's hilarious. Yeah, she's proud. She just wants to get the word out. I can just see a pregnant woman like, oh, what's this? That's cool. I want to know if she got any business that way. That's pretty cool. And then there's a question, how do people structure their first and second visits with clients? So maybe we'll make that our last question. So I think that means Jasmine's asking about prenatal visits. So I'll just share what I do for my first and second. I usually do too. And then anybody else who wants to share would be great. So I usually tell people that I do my first visit. I really want to find out what are their ideals for birth, what are their preferences, and we if they don't know what they are, then I ask them questions to try to help formulate that. And really, I'm trying to get to know them and get to know how I can best help them. And just really I'm just going to be taking a lot of notes and asking about what will make that experience a positive one for them and their goals. And then my second one, I usually do about a month out, and I like to say that that's more of a practical meeting. So we talk about sort of like here are things that I suggest, here are ideas for the day, when to call me, what to do in early labor, and just kind of go through strategies and more like practical things. After I knew, in the first meeting sort of what they're looking for, then the second meeting is kind of like where I can give them more practical information. So that's just a quick sort of how I do it. Everybody does it different. Tara or Amanda, do you want to share your visits and structure and that kind of thing?
Yeah, the first prenatal I do the same kind of thing, like go over their fears and just kind of, I get a lot of things down so I can research it and talk about it the next time. And then so this is really silly, but the bump.com has a birth plan, and I think it's amazing. It's very detailed, and so I have that printed out, and I go over that birth plan, and then I make that like a one-page plan after. But so we go over that, and it's more so I can know what they're really passionate about and what they don't really care about, and then also go over previous pregnancies if they've had previous births, because it's really good to know what happened during that. And then for the second visit, it's just kind of a follow-up of questions, and then I do positions, labor positions, and then I also bring my rebozo and do different positions with the rebozo.
Love that. That's great. I think especially
similar to hers.
What was that? Go ahead, Tara.
Oh, I was just going to say, mine was kind of similar to Amanda's as far as what she goes over in the first and the second. I definitely ask if they have already had children, different things about their previous birth, if there were likes or dislikes, or what they wish they had at their birth that they didn't have before. And I also go over what type of techniques they currently use for relaxation, because I feel like if they can use that as for relaxation when they're not in labor, then it may be beneficial when they're in labor as well. And then I also take a couple different types of birth plans just to show them what their options are and what they could or cannot include in their birth plan. But a lot of the same things as Amanda said.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of taking a couple different birth plans just for style. That's kind of interesting. That's interesting. I think that's cool. Okay, we have time for, I'm going to squeeze in one question. Naomi says in the chat box, what's your criteria for turning down a client? Which I think is a great question, because when we're doing an interview, we're actually interviewing them too. Some people are only thinking about, like, are they going to hire me? Are they going to choose me? But really, we need to make sure that we're the right person for them as well, that they're the right client to take, I think, in my opinion. And not that I've got the right answer to this question. I would just say that I try to go with my instinct, and that's about as wishy-washy an answer that you could get, maybe. But I would say if it just doesn't feel right and there's just something not clicking, whether it's, a personality thing, or, I'm giving information, or they're not asking questions, or there's just kind of a strangeness to it, I think that sometimes is a not a good match for me. And then the other big thing I would say that's more maybe concrete, if this person that's interviewing me has unrealistic expectations of what I do as a doula, then it's not a good match. So an example of that would be, like, if their thought was I was going to protect them from intervention with a doctor that's very interventive, and that's not really, I can do my best to make that come true, but I'm not going to be able to change that doctor or that hospital, and I can't, like, shield my body in front of them. I can help them communicate and advocate for them and help them advocate for themselves, but if there's an unrealistic sort of thought about what doulas do or what I can do, it's not a good match. So that would be someone who would not work well with me. I don't know if that made sense, but does anybody else have anything to share on that topic?
I've never done that before. What do you say to them?
You've never turned me down who says they want you?
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I don't do it a lot. I usually say that I looked over my schedule and it just doesn't seem like it's a good fit. And even though that's not like really the right reason, I think it's better. I don't know. I feel more comfortable saying that I'm just maybe not the right match with my schedule at this time. I always try to make sure I've got somebody else to refer them to. You know, hey, I know that I've got this person and this person. Why don't you talk to them? Or this, and then I've already called to see, you know, hey, do you want to do this interview? Or are you free in, you know, May or whatever? But I don't do it a lot. But I would say that I have had the situation where it might not have been a great fit, and I did go ahead with that relationship, and I thought at the end of it, yeah, I probably should have trusted my instinct. So. That's very rare, you know. I mean, I've been to like over 200 and something births, and that would be a very small minority of the time. But I would say that it does happen, and I think it's important to look out for, you know, that chemistry and that instinct and all of that. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you say, Amanda?
I was going to say, it's really hard when almost the opposite happens, when you think you had like the best interview ever and then they don't hire you.
Yes. Yeah, you come home and you're like, oh, I nailed that. We had this great chemistry and everything was going super awesome, and then they just said they found somebody else, and you think, whoa, I misread that totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, those are the days that you just have to go, oh well, you know, I did all that I can do, and they might have had just awesome chemistry with another doula, or who knows what, right? There was one thing, you know, I don't remember who said this, but I was another doula I was talking to about this situation, and she said, oh, you know, I think it was Tara at DTI. So one of the trainers for Doula Trainers International said that someone didn't hire her one time, and then she asked later, like, why? You know, was there something, you know? And they said, well, you look too much like my husband's sister. Or, you know, it was something that was like, you know, not at all something she could change. Like, oh, okay. So note to self, don't take everything personally, that it might be, you know, something that you can't change at all. So, anyway, okay, so we just are right now at an hour, and it looks like the chat room has kind of slowed down a bit too. So I just wanted to wrap up by thanking everybody for their time and their energy with this discussion and just bringing some awesome points. This is so fun for me, and I really love connecting with doulas we hit lots of different areas today, so that's really fun and just a cool time. So thanks especially to everybody on video. Amanda, thank you so much, and I know Karina is there, and Tara, thank you too, and other Amanda.
Yes.
I like Karina's. Thank you. What was that, Tara?
Oh, I just said thank you for hosting it.
Awesome. I hear a helper in the background.
Yes, that's my 2-year-old daughter asking who's talking.
That's cute. That's awesome. Thanks so much, everybody, and I will replay on the blog probably tomorrow or later on tonight. We'll see. And if you want to talk about it, please do. #DoulaBizChat, just to get more doulas interested and just bring that discussion even to more doulas. That would be excellent. So I hope everyone has a great week, And anyone that's on call, I guess I kind of pushed into your bedtime if you're on the East Coast. So go to bed. Take care, and I will. Oh, one thing I was gonna mention, because I didn't give. We had a doula book club, our last chat, and I got emails from a few people that said I didn't give you enough time to read the book, which I totally understand. So I'm giving a big lead time, or a bigger lead time, and it's a small book. So if you're on the chat page, you will see a yellow box that gives the information. And I'll also put it on the blog. But the next book is going to be Natural Hospital Book. Natural Hospital Birth. And it's a smaller book. It's a really interesting book, and the author's great, Cynthia Gabriel. And we're going to do the chat on May 14th, so just under 2 months from now. So if you are interested in joining that chat, and you want to read the book first, get to reading, and mark your calendars, and we will do another business chat in between this chat and the book chat. So just keep your eyes out, and I will announce the date. So anyway, we'll wrap up, and thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.